Russia is building up forces near the border with Finland, creating new Arctic tensions amid the war in Ukraine, the New York Times reports. New satellite imagery confirms that Russia is actively bolstering its military presence near the Finnish border, with the construction of new tents, fighter jet shelters, and warehouses potentially signaling the Kremlin's long-term strategy in response to Finland joining NATO. Tents, shelters for fighter jets and warehouses for military equipment indicate a growing Russian presence near one of NATO's newest members. The publication writes, NATO confirms that Russia's activities resemble preparations for the deployment of significant forces in the event of the end of the war in Ukraine. Russian troops are strengthening bases and building military infrastructure near the Finnish border, which could reveal their strategy for what happens after the war in Ukraine. Finnish officials believe they have about 5 years before Russia increases its military presence to threatening levels. We will be talking about a much higher troop level, said Brigadier General Pekka Turunen, Director of Finnish Defence Intelligence. Military aircraft, dozens of new tents, new equipment and active construction. All this has been recorded near key bases near the Finnish border, in particular in Kamenka and Alakurti. Similar activity has also been noted near Estonia. They are expanding their brigades to divisions, which means the number of units near our borders will increase significantly by thousands, said Emil Kastehelmi, an analyst at Blackbird Group. Analysts believe that Russia perceives the Arctic zone as one of the key elements of its great power identity. Russia believes that the Arctic and access to the Arctic is key to its greater power status, a senior NATO official said. Finland, which joined NATO just 2 years ago, does not yet see a direct threat, but the country's government is closely monitoring the situation. The increase in military force in our neighboring areas will take place after the fighting in Ukraine has subsided. This is what we must be prepared for, said Jan Kusela, Director of Defence Policy at the Finnish Ministry of Defence. Let us recall that earlier, the German Federal Intelligence Service came to the conclusion that Russia perceives relations with the West as a systematic conflict and is preparing for a major war with NATO. It was noted that the Kremlin is ready to use force to achieve its goals and by the end of the decade may be fully prepared for a large-scale conventional war. According to the Lithuanian Intelligence Service, VSD, Moscow is not yet in a position to attack the entire alliance but can test NATO by conducting a limited military operation against one or more member countries. Syrian television reported that the Syrian Arab Ports Authority, after breaking the agreement with the Russian side on the Tartus seaport, signed a memorandum with the port operator DP World of UAE. Syrian media also note that the implementation of this project will strengthen Tartus's position as a key hub for regional and international trade. In addition, the leadership of the SAR and the world's largest port operator, DP World, agreed to work together to organize special economic zones as well as to build terminals and transit hubs in various regions of the country. It is known that in January, the new government of the Syrian Arab Republic unilaterally terminated the agreement with the Russian Federation on the management of the port of Tartus, concluded in 2019 for 49 years. Earlier, the new Syrian authorities have made an official demand to Russian President Vladimir Putin regarding the fugitive dictator Bashar al-Assad. However, during the recent visit of the Russian delegation to Damascus, it tried to assure the Syrian authorities that the Assad family allegedly has no investments in Russian assets. During these negotiations, the Syrian authorities again raised the issue of extraditing the former dictator to bring him to trial. In turn, representatives of the Russian Federation insisted that this issue should not become an obstacle to the normalization of relations between the countries. As is known, the Russian Federation is trying to establish cooperation with the new leadership of Syria in order to preserve its military bases in this country. The new head of the Syrian Ministry of Defense, Muraf Abu Kasra, stated in early February that the fate of Russian military bases would depend on the interests of the Syrian state. Syria plans to print a newly designed currency in Germany and the UAE instead of Russia, marking a departure from over a decade of wartime cooperation, Reuters reported on May the 16th, citing 3 unnamed sources familiar with the matter. The decision reflects a shift in Damascus's foreign policy and economic posture following the fall of Russian-backed dictator Bashar al-Assad in December 2024. As sanctions against Syria ease, the new leadership is seeking deeper ties with Arab and Western countries, ending its reliance on Moscow. Syrian authorities are reportedly in preliminary talks with Umolat, which is based in the UAE. In Germany, the state-owned Bundesdruckerei and the private company Gisek plus Devrient have also expressed interest. 2 Syrian sources told Reuters that the governor of Syria's central bank and the finance minister visited Umolat in early May. A separate European official confirmed German interest in the new currency deal. Russia had been Syria's leading banknote producer since EU and US sanctions cut off access to European contractors more than a decade ago. That partnership effectively ends this year.